Can you guys hear us that are remote? Okay. I'm gonna try to get them to talk as close to the mic as I can for you guys.
All right, we good? We good, Julie? We good?
Bill can hear you, so I'm on. I can't see anybody, but I can hear everybody. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to call the Justice Committee to order. The first item on the agenda is item A1A, request authorization for the state's attorney to offer a salary in accordance with section 108-43F, parens 2, parens lowercase b, parens 3 of the McLean County Code. And can I have a motion? I have a motion by Member Smith, a second by Member Martin. I do have the state's attorney Knapp here to answer any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? You want to say anything, Don?
No, we usually, as you guys know, this is a personnel matter. We usually will convene in closed session for these, but I think they're all brief and like I say, answer any questions, but that seems to be it.
Okay, any questions? All right, let's go ahead and vote. The chairman will be voting.
Thank you. Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Went, Member Went,
I don't think he knows.
Member Went. He's not paying. Member Martin,
Yes.
Chairman Erickson.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us to this regular McLean County Board meeting Thursday, May 13th, 2021. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have invocation by member Josh Barnett. Would you please stand?
Please join me in a moment of silent prayer and reflection. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. More likely, please call the roll.
Susan Schaefer. I'm sorry, Susan
Here.
Schaefer. Okay, thank you. Logan Smith.
Here.
James Soldner.
Here.
Gerald Thompson.
Present.
Shayna Wachensky.
Here.
Benjamin Webb.
Here.
George Wendt.
Present.
Lori Woolrab.
Here.
Josh Barnett.
Present.
Hannah Beer.
Here.
Lindsay Bloomfield.
Present.
Sharon Chung.
Present.
Leah Klein.
Present.
Chuck Erickson.
Here.
William John Friedrich.
Here, present.
Elizabeth Johnston.
Here.
Val Lehman.
Present.
Randall Martin.
Present.
Catherine Metzger.
Present.
John McIntyre.
Here, we have 20 members present, no members absent, and we do quorum. And we'll move on to the next item, number 5, appearance by members of the public. We have one member who was going to speak to us today, Ms. Sarah Breeden. I believe Sarah is on the screen. Can you hear us, Sarah?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am a resident of Normal, living in District 5. I have written to and/or called my representatives and the board as a whole on occasion regarding different topics. While one of my representatives, Member Johnston, and numerous other members have responded to my communications, the other board member representing me, Chairperson McIntyre, never has. In an email a few months ago to the board, I expressed concerns with our public government meetings having a religious component. My understanding is that all board members are offered the opportunity to deliver the invocation at meetings throughout the year, and that some do so with a religious message and some do not. Of course, all members are entitled to practice their own religion in their own way, on their own time, but religion, put simply, does not belong in a government meeting. Not everyone shares the same religion. It could be said that if people don't want to pray at the meeting, they don't have to. Yet, all in attendance are directed by the chair at each meeting to stand and do so. This issue was incontrovertibly on display at the special meeting earlier this week on May 11th regarding redistricting, when the invocation recited by Chairperson McIntyre was used to weaponize prayer against anyone not standing. His prayer ostracizing those who choose not to stand as needing to someday learn to show respect and honor patriotism was abhorrent. He wasn't clear whether his contempt for others was for those not standing for prayer, or perhaps, since he mentioned patriotism, for those not standing for the pledge or the national anthem, doing so in silent protest to police brutality of people of color and a desire for justice for all. Either way, his prayer was nothing short of condescending. So much for judge not, lest ye be judged, I guess. Although an invocation may have been the standard procedure for years, and there are other instances of public meetings opening with an invocation, that doesn't mean it belongs in our county board meetings where members in tax-paid positions have taken a secular oath to secular duties. It's really better to eliminate the religious component altogether and allow people to practice their personal religion on their own in their own chosen religious setting. Doing so eliminates any question about whether Chairperson McIntyre or anyone else intends to force personal religion and pass personal judgment on others. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on now to the item 6 on our agenda, consent agenda. You have that before you. What say you? Motion to approve by Member Metzger. Is there a second? Look at the screen too. Second by Member Went. Ms. Johnston,
Thank you.
you want to pull off item E5A? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So everyone, Member Johnson wants to pull off the consent agenda, item E5A, and that will be covered under the Land Use Committee report. Also, you have a transfer ordinance on page 17 as well. If I could, this time we'll take a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger.
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre, will you be voting?
Yes, so we have 20
Yes, sir.
yes votes, 0 no votes. Also, you might notice item D, the transfer ordinance on page 17 as part of our consent agenda. Is there anyone who would like to have their vote registered as a dissenting vote on item D for transfers? If not, we will consider that a unanimous vote on the transfers as well. We have, I call your attention to one resolution, and it's on page 55 for therapy animal proclamation. And if you haven't had an opportunity, please read through that. I asked if Member Erickson's dog would do a acceptance speech, but he refused, so we'll go on from there. Approval of bills as part of consent agenda. So we'll go on to the report of standing committees, executive committee first as Vice Chairman Solder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Executive Committee has a number of items for action today. First one is 7A, 1A, request approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Bloomington and the Town Normal for drop box recycling, and I make that motion.
A motion by Vice Chairman Soldner. Is there a second? Second by Member Johnston. Comments or questions or discussion? Member Soldner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Executive Committee, I argued against this agreement, stating that I believe that the 30 or 33% of the fee for the rural citizens was too high. I felt that 15% would be closer to right. But then Mr. O'Grady from the Ecology Action Center mentioned that if we did not kick in our 30%, they may drop the program completely, and I didn't want to be part of that. I think it's a valuable program. Hopefully in the future, they'll do a little more to help the rural residents to recycling, maybe by putting a box somewhere closer to the rural part. So anyhow, at this point, I am supporting this, but I'm not happy with the way it went around. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there other comments or discussion? Member Went?
Yes, I'll be voting against it because I agree with Member Jim Salter addition to that is I have mentioned that I think these things should be discussed among the different parties before they're passed by the other two parties, which happened in this case. We were given this with no choice, and I will be voting against the.
Thank you. Any other comments or discussion? At this time, I'll call the question and be a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
No.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Okay, there was 19 yes votes and 1 no vote, and the motion has carried. Vice Chairman Soldner, you have the floor.
Next item is 7A1B, request approval of an abatement ordinance abating taxes on property purchased by Rivian Automotive, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Soldner. Is there a second? Second by Member Bloomfield. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston, Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Yes, we have 20 yes votes, 0 no votes, and the motion is carried. We'll go back to the floor. Member Soldner?
Next item is 7A1C, request approval of an abatement ordinance abating taxes on property purchased by Brandt Industries, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Soldner. Is there a second? Second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger, Chairman McIntyre.
Yes, we have 20 yes votes, 0 no votes, and the motion is carried. We'll go to item 7AD. Vice Chairman Soldner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 7AD, request approval of a resolution of the McLean County Board to amend the rules of the McLean County Board as contained within Chapter 7 of the McLean County Code as recommended by a Rules Subcommittee on April 28th, 2021. I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Soldner. Is there a second? Second by Member Chung. Comments or questions or discussion? Member Erickson?
I have a question. I just want to work out an example to make sure I understand the rule. For example, say I want to, say there's a committee meeting on May 25th. What date would I have to have this in to comply with that rule? If I were going to submit a written report?
May 25th. by 6 business days, I believe. Yeah, for the, to submit a rule,
7.
That's what it's going to.
yeah. 7, okay. Anything else?
No, I know that. I just want, not just an example, like if it had to be submitted on the 20, at the meeting, we're on the 25th, what date, let's say, would it have to be submitted now?
Well, it would be business days. It
Well, I
depends
know
on-
that, but I'm just, I mean, is it
So
a
I don't have
Friday
a
or
calendar
Monday?
in front of me. Hang on,
Yeah.
we'll look here and see, okay? So we can apply that. Are you wanting to referring to whether or not?
Yeah,
you
is it
count
Friday or
Count
Monday?
the day of the meeting, or you wanna wanna know whether it's business days and not weekends?
Well, I know it's
or-
business days, but I just want to, would it be Friday or Monday?
For what? Now,
Let's
wait a
say
minute.
let's say I
So
have
if
a
it's
written,
7 days, depending on what day the meeting is,
okay, the
so-
meeting's on May 25th, which is a Tuesday.
assuming that there's no holidays, then you would have to have it in by May 18th.
Okay,
That's
what is
7
May,
days.
what is
Or
May
7 business
18th?
days, so add 2 more. So it'd be the 16th.
Where does it say business days?
It doesn't say business days, it
I
says
don't have
7
it.
days. You guys
It
were
says
saying
7.
business days.
Well, then 25.
Well, mine says 7.
Are you looking at K1? I don't know which one you're looking at, because you didn't say specifically, but under K1, it says into the state's attorney by
Well,
5
I didn't
PM.
ask the question very well, but mine says, I think we're on 107 to 109, right?
I'm looking at 108. It's K1, for example.
I'm looking at number 3 up there on the top where it says 7 business days. If a board member wishes to submit a written report to their assigned committee.
Okay, that's the bottom of the page for me, but yeah, if it says 7 business days, then you have to go 2 more days. So if it's Thursday to Thursday, you'd have to have it in on Tuesday. That's business days, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's 7 business days.
So May 18th would be the day to submit it then.
Not if it's on the 25th, because that's just 7 days. So it would be 2 days before that. And I'm not looking at a calendar, so I don't know which days are weekends or holidays.
It'd be Friday the 14th. Okay, I just want everybody to know how that works. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Check the screen. Member Johnson?
Thank you. In item for K1 and K3, it does specifically talk about 7 days. Is this something we would want to amend the rule so that it is the same language? So that it doesn't say 7 business days in one place and 7 days
I
in
understand
another? Yeah.
exactly what you're saying, and there's still some places in our book where the rules should proceed or refer to the same one in a different section of the rules book, and sometimes it hasn't.
I'm sorry,
And it's the same way, so, yeah.
do we want to make the amendment to correct that, or?
So you can, if you want to amend that rules or submit a resolution, we can take a look at that. Is that what you're wanting, Mr. Perry?
I think she's asking, I won't put words in
No,
your
go
mouth.
ahead.
Okay, but I think what you're asking, you want to say business days too, right? Or
I would like it to be consistent, that's all.
yeah, have the, because that doesn't say business days down in that rule. So that's what you're asking, right? Yeah.
I would just like it to be consistent.
Yeah.
I'm fine if we want to do business on both sections, or if we want to do 7 days.
You can move to amend the rule if you'd like to at this point, obviously. If you're asking my opinion about whether they should be consistent, it's certainly a lot easier to interpret the rules if it's consistent.
So if I could ask a quick question to the state's attorney, would it be better, the state's attorney, would it be better to have 7 business days for review, or is it sufficient to have 7 days in advance?
Traditionally, because of staff and timing and people not being here and coming in and working on holidays and weekends, et cetera, that's why I think we primarily put the business day in there originally. So my recommendation would be that we have business days. Mr. Barnett, would you like to enter in this conversation?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may. So I will tell you that the fact that it says 5 business days is a mistake. And I can say that because I was the one who drafted this change to the rule. I believe it used to say 5 business days at various places in our rules. And during the Rules Committee, we had discussion about 5 business days, and in some conversations afterwards with Administrator Rodriguez and Mr. Spanos, I thought we had decided that it should, instead of saying business days, and then what happens if you have a holiday in there and things like that, it'd just be easier if it just said 7 days, period. And that got changed in K, and somehow I think we missed changing it up in E1, and it's made it this far, so.
Mr. Barnett, you just referred to 5 days, is that correct, or were we talking about 7?
It, E1, I believe the intention was that E1 should say 7 days instead of 5 business
All right,
days.
thank you.
If I can point out, Mr. Chairman, the same holds true for E3, which currently says at least 7 business days.
So unless Member Johnson would like to, I'd be happy to offer up an amendment on those 2 things to clean this up. 7 days.
Without business days included then, is that how would you like it worded?
Yes, yes.
Without business?
Without business, just 7 days.
So there's amendment to offer the change, and I offer as 7 business days. Is there a second? Second by Member Smith. Any comments or questions? Member Schaefer?
Yeah, on E1, where you have 5 business days, are you also saying you want to change that to 7 days also, so that it's consistent?
Yes. I agree. Anybody that doesn't have the rules in front of you, you'll have to refer to that. Member Solner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like the idea of 7 days. Again, 7 business days could end up being 9 days. That seems to be a long time. I think, I don't want to speak for the rest of the Rules Committee, but I believe 7 days would be appropriate. Thank you.
As I said prior, I believe a lot of times the terms of business days was done in for staff and time to get things done. And so I can see it either way. It's a matter of what we come up with, but let's be consistent as was so expressed. So at this time, we have an amendment, and we did have a second. uh, to change that to 7 days, period, and delete business days. Is that correct? Any other comments or questions or discussion on that then? And I would say also we ask our assistant state's attorney to go through the rules and see if there's any place else in there that had that same conflict. And so we are just basically cleaning up the rules, if that's okay. Member Erickson, are you going to discuss the amendment?
Yeah,
Okay.
can I?
Yes, you can.
Thank you very much. Didn't mean to cause an issue on business or days. I mean, I was just trying to get a clarification so people understood how they were counting. I just want to make sure I understand what the amendment is. We're voting E1, and we're changing E1 to taking out business. E3, we're taking out business. Is that right? Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
E1, they were changing it from 5 business days to 7 days. And then in E3, it was taking out business.
Okay. Thank you.
Questions? We're going to vote on amendment to do just what was just expressed there, taking out business on, and also changing it from 5 to 7. I'm hoping that all of you out there in TV land can find that as well. And if you can, then I'd be happy to call for a vote. Any comments or questions? We are voting on the amendment first, as was just proposed by Member Barnett, and I'll ask you to take a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wojcinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Yes. 20 yes votes, 0 no votes. Motion's carried. And we'll go back to the floor again.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next
Oh,
item
I'm
is.
sorry. We've got to go back now and
Oh, you're
vote
right.
on the original as amended. It's my fault. So now we're gonna have to have another roll call vote unless there is any other discussion at this time on the original motion as is in your packet. If not, then we'll take a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich, Member Friedrich. I see him up there. Member Friedrich,
Mr. Friedrich, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. he
okay,
said
thank
yes.
you.
Thank
Member
you.
Johnston,
Yes.
thank you. Member Johnston, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry I spoke over you. Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Yes. 20 yes votes, 0 no votes. Motion's carried. We'll move on to item E. Vice Chairman Solder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item is 7A1E. Request approval of a resolution of the McLean County Board to amend the rules of the McLean County Board as contained within Chapter 20 of the McLean County Code as recommended by a Rules Subcommittee on May 6, 2021, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Soldner. Is there a second? Second by Member Martin. Comments or questions or discussion?
Point of order, Chairman. Parliamentary inquiry, please. So since,
There's a typo in there.
no, since 7A, E, and F there has been a past competing resolution. I just wondered how that works, parliamentarian.
Since we just amended the other one, can we consider that inclusive and carried over? Is that what you mean?
No.
Without having.
No,
to
my
look at-
understanding is that E and F cover what we covered in our special meeting. Am I?
My understanding is that once you vote on E to accept it, because I think E reflects what was decided, unless I have them flipped, the one that was decided on exec will be voted upon, and the other one is going to be withdrawn from the agenda, as I understand it.
Okay, so item 7A, E is in conflict with what the board passed on Tuesday evening. Correct? What was passed on Tuesday evening was 10 districts, 20 members.
So
And this resolution says,
they were both put in there prior to us voting at Tuesday's meeting, so technically that is correct.
so I was going to say, are E and F moot?
They should be removed.
Now that they
yeah.
have been voted
Yeah.
on by the full
Yeah,
membership?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we move to strike this, or what is the parliamentary?
Which one is that, Member
E and
Solner?
F were both decided in our meeting on Tuesday differently than what is on our agenda. So the question, does this become moot? Is there a parliamentary procedure to strike them?
Well, they can be removed from the agenda by the chairman.
So both items E and F seek 5 districts, 4 members each.
The item F was voted on and passed, right? And that was the number of 4 districts and number of representatives. And the other one that came out of E was basically the rules for that. And so I guess that we could almost combine them because they're the same thing, right? Right?
we could combine E and F and have them stricken because they,
Or we can just have them both stricken.
yeah, you can do that according to the state's attorney. Or we can vote again. I don't know.
But you see, when it came out of rules, we still have to vote to change the rule, even though we choose, we took action on that.
The resolution that we passed on
Uh-huh.
Tuesday night amended the rules.
Yeah, but we,
Parliamentary procedure.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
That is, yeah.
It amended one of the rules. There
One
are
of-
actually two others that should, or one other that should be amended, but we don't have to do that tonight. These two are both, reflect the 5 and 4, and probably both should be removed from the agenda.
So what you're pointing out is, Member Klein, that we can just strike those now and not deal with them this time?
So long as the state's attorney's office says that's the
Yes,
appropriate
and-
parliamentary procedure. Yes,
And
sir.
I think that's very much of a possibility. Actually, if we'd had time, because we have 48 hours to get the packets out, they would just been taken out anyway.
No, I understand. That's why I just wanted to bring it up
Yeah.
and let Spanos make the decision that he says it's appropriate. So
Yeah.
that would be what I would hope.
Yeah, I agree. So let's just strike those, Member Solomon.
Okay, do you need a motion to strike, or are they just stricken?
We don't need, we can just, I'll just make a determination. I think I have the power just to remove them from the packet. They were, they were just left in because the packet was done. Right.
Okay, in that case, that ends all the action items the executive committee has. Our general report can be found in the unapproved minutes, and I would be glad to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for pointing that out to us, Member Klein. We'll go on to the report of the Finance Committee, Chairman Metzger.
Thank you, Chair McIntyre. The Finance Committee has two items. 7B1, request approval of a resolution establishing the budget policy for fiscal year 2022, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Metzger. Is there a second? Second by Member Johnston. Comments or questions? If none, we'll, I'm sorry?
I would just like to make a
I
comment.
apologize. I'm
That's
trying to
okay.
look at a screen and all
It
over the
is
place there.
challenging, I'm
yes,
sure.
you have the floor, Member Metzger.
I just want to inform the board as well as the public that a special finance committee meeting is set for May 25th at 4:30 to make potential amendments to this budget resolution. So just anticipate that there may be changes in the future.
And so it would still be appropriate to go ahead and this time pass?
Yes,
this,
it is.
okay,
Thank you.
With your recommendation? Yes. Okay, so we have the motion by Member Metzger and a second on the floor. Any other comments or questions? If none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Member Thompson? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Member Wojcinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
yes,
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung. I'm sorry, Member Chung, I apologize.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes. Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson. Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman.
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Yes. 20 yes
Yes.
votes, 0 no. We have 20 yes votes, 0 no votes, and the motion is carried. And we'll go back to Chairman Metzger.
We have one more item, 7B1B, request approval of Schedule A, calendar for preparation of the fiscal year 2022 budget, 5-year capital improvement and budget and recommended 3-year budget. And I so move.
Motion by Chairman Metzger. Is there a second to the motion? Second by Member Bloomfield. Are there comments or questions? If none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Yes. So we have 20 yes votes, 0 no votes. The motion has carried. And Chairman Metzger, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. We have no other items to be presented, but our general report can be found in the unapproved meeting minutes on pages 15 to 21, and I have completed. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on to the report of the Health Committee, Chairman Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee has no items for action today, and our general report is on pages 2 through 7 of the unapproved minutes packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Go on to the report of the Justice Committee, Chairman Erickson.
The Justice Committee has one item for action, item 7D1A. Request approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Ford County and McLean County Court Services, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Erickson, second by Member Soldner. Comments or questions? Discussion? If none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
Yes.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Member Woolrab, I
Sorry,
apologize.
yes.
Thank you. Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield. I
Yes.
apologize. Thank you. Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Chairman McIntyre.
Yes, we have 20 yes votes, 0 no votes. Motion's carried. Yes, Member Erickson. you
All
have
right,
the
yes,
floor.
were you asking if there was another?
Yeah, but that was done in stand-up and it wasn't
That was done in
necessary,
stand-up,
so
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we were discussing up here. Thank you.
Yep, I clarified that question with Don too
Yeah,
beforehand.
okay, thank you.
All right, well, I gotta finish. The Justice Committee has, no other items for action, and, our report can be found on pages 11 through 14, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. We'll go on to the report of, yes, Member Klein.
Yes, I have a question, Chairman Erickson, excuse me. I just wanted to know if you have any update about vaccination in the jail. I know there was one round of offering and some residents, inmates, staff accepted. Do you know if there's been any other motion on that, any more offerings?
I do not have any information. I believe the county administrator, someone can ask the Sheriff Sandage and get an update on that to you. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Okay, thank you. You have anything else, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll go on to the report of the Land Use and Development Committee, Chairman Went.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Land Use and Development Committee has one item to present, and that is item E, which was pulled from the consent agenda, and that is the request approval of a resolution of the McLean County Board in opposition to the proposed legislation by the Illinois General Assembly and the Governor Pritzker, and supporting continued local control of zoning and land use. And I so move.
Motion by Chairman Went. Is there a second? Second by Member Solner. Comments or questions? Member Johnson?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to bring up what happened in the Land Use Committee was that the initial proposal was a resolution against Senate Bill 1602, which did have clear legislation that would have put in jeopardy our current ordinances for safety regarding wind tower setbacks and height limitations. And I was prepared to vote for it. At the last minute, it was changed specifically to, well, I say unspecifically to the Illinois General Assembly and to Governor Pritzker. The concern that I have with this is that it does create a very partisan. I asked specifically if there was legislation that we had a problem with, and I was told that there wasn't. However, I did find that there is the Consumer and Climate First Act that does have section 5-12020D that has the same concerns from me about the setbacks, limiting them to 2.1 times the tower height, and taking away any sort of height restrictions. Again, looking at kind of the safety for the community, for our county, and with the idea of retaining our local zoning authority, I am asking that we amend this resolution to specifically target section 5-12020D of proposed Consumer and Climate First Act and supporting continued local control of zoning and land use affairs. I did email the entire committee what my amendment would be, so I hope you have all had a chance to look over that. But we have seen in the last couple of weeks how damaging partisanship can be, and I would like our resolution to be targeted at legislation in favor of retaining our zoning rights.
Okay, thank you. Motion to amend. I believe it seems like everyone did receive that from Member Johnson. Hopefully. Okay, and a second by Member Smith. Comments, questions? Member Solner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I mentioned in the executive committee, I serve on the Illinois Association of County Board Members Special Zoning Wind Farm, Solar Farm Zoning Board. And they've been working with the governor, his staff, to try and come to some compromises. It appears that one of the issues that the governor's administration or his staff has is that they feel that the county governments have slowed down the development of renewable energy with their zoning issues. As we all are aware, there's a big push now for more renewable energy in the state, and I support that. I think it's a great thing. But his concern, or his staff's concern, is the county governments have slowed that development. So anyhow, what I wanted to say is that there are 102 counties in the state of Illinois. Out of those 102, 78 counties have passed this resolution that was sent through land use or one similar to that. Out of that 102 counties, 78 counties have done that. The other 24 are smaller counties. Some of those counties don't even have zoning. They have their own local townships that do zoning. So to me, it's overwhelmingly that the state, or at least the counties in the state that support this, have done their legwork and would like to see it passed as presented, and I do too. So that's kind of where I'm at. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, any other comments?
I presume we are, I'm sorry, am I recognized?
I'm sorry, I keep missing you.
It's
It's
okay.
hard for me to see you over there with that white screen behind you. Yes, Member Klein?
Right, so we're debating the amendment,
Yes.
okay. I would just say that I will be supporting that. I'm also on land use and development, and I agree that when we have specific legislation that we are opposed to, we should make resolutions to that specific piece of legislation. Broader resolutions seem a bit performative, so I'd rather it be very targeted and specific, so I'll be supporting the amendment.
Okay, thank you. Member Schaefer?
I was looking at the amendment while I had to get my microphone turned on. Um, the, the one thing that I might want to think about changing is that in our legislative agenda, we have opposition to this of, anything that takes away local control, regardless of whether it's, wind farms or landfills, because they already took away the landfill stuff a long time ago. Um, and with the specific legislation, because it was in this other bill and now it's in this other thing, I'm concerned that if we make something really specific in a way, that it could change again and be put into something else. And I don't know enough about how the legislative process works down there to know how, if that can happen. And I'm really kind of concerned about that as to how specific we get in this, but somehow still relate the fact that we are against, you know, losing local control of zoning and land use affairs. I'm not sure how that would work, and I don't know on Member Johnston um, with the amendment. I get what she's trying to go for here. So I'm just kind of worried that if we make something specific and then they change something, and even if they renumber everything, that this is meaningless to them.
I would accept a friendly amendment if you would like to make that about changing it from a very specific one to any law that would restrict.
Um, you're
I mean,
addressing Member
I
I
can,
Schaefer?
didn't have any specific wording because I just read it.
Okay.
I just read it quickly before the meeting, so that's why I didn't have anything specific.
Okay. At this time, we have an amendment, as you know, and you have in front of you, presented by Member Johnson to the resolution. Is any other discussion? Member Webb?
Thank you, Chairman. I will be voting for the amendment, and I do appreciate keeping the language and supporting continued local control of zoning and land use affairs in the beginning of it. I think that does an excellent job of reiterating our point while minimizing the partisanship. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Member Schaefer?
Okay, so here's a suggestion, possibly on um, something, and taking out, saying, and calling it a resolution of the McLean County Board supporting continued local control of zoning and land use affairs. And that kind of just shortens it up and not pointing out, proposed legislation, because even though we know it's proposed, or, anything partisan, like, a governor's name or anything like that. And then on the whereas, 1, 2, 3, the fourth whereas, where it says the General Assembly is considering, and Governor Pritzker, take Pritzker out and put the word the governor or the office of the governor. And then also later when it says that, I think that maybe clarifies our stances, that we just, regardless of whatever legislation is being proposed and being considered, would that be acceptable to Member Johnston?
I think that whereas paragraph may need to be clarified just a little bit, because I've already struck out the Illinois General Assembly is considering and Governor Pritzker has proposed legislation. And if we are striking that section 5-12020D of the Consumer and Climate First Act, is simply to replace that with any regulation, any law that would, if enacted, would limit, restrict, and/or eliminate a county's right to enact. So just continue it that way. Would that be acceptable?
Can you repeat that again while I'm looking at it?
No, that's fine. So basically, it would read, uh, whereas we oppose any law that, if enacted, would limit, restrict, and/or eliminate a county's right to enact or amend certain ordinances specific to wind and solar projects that may be constructed within that county.
Member
I
Schaefer?
think that would be okay. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm still looking at it, 'cause like I said,
Okay,
um,
I'm gonna ask,
okay,
with your permission, Ms. Johnston, I'm gonna ask Ms. Morlock to read back, so we have the wording for your amendment, so we know what we're voting on
Yes.
at this point in time. So if we can everybody have your attention, Ms. Morlock, if you could read through that, you have it as we understand it up here, okay?
The only one that I'm not clear on is number 3 from Ms. Schaefer. And
Number 3, third paragraph.
where, yeah, because it's the proposed changes. Were you taking, what did you take out in that? I'm sorry.
you could re, you could say any proposed legislation, if is that what one? Any proposed legislation that is inactive? I'm looking at, which one should I be looking at? Member Johnston's or the one that's in the packet? Because I have the one in the packet and then I have the other one up here.
We're
on the
looking at
screen.
Member Johnson's up here, the amendment.
Okay. Okay, so where it says the third whereas,
No, the
No,
number 3,
number
now
3.
therefore.
The bottom of the page.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah, just take out, um, yeah, I mean, just take out all of that. Just take out the red stuff.
Hang on just a second.
I think this is what she.
May I make a suggestion that I don't know if this is my role or not, but I think this is what you're trying to accomplish. If you go to the changes in the title as Ms. Schaefer has suggested, make good sense to me, so that it would read resolution of the McLean County Board supporting continued local control of zoning and land use affairs. Go down to the fourth whereas provision and have it state that whereas the McLean County Board opposes any law, rule, or regulation that, if enacted into law, would limit, restrict, and so on, as it currently reads. Going to the next, whereas you have limit in there, I think that's fine to leave it as is. And under number 3, I think it would be, what you're trying to say is that the McLean County Board further stands in opposition to any proposed changes that would eliminate, limit, or restrict its authority to make land use, and it says any proposed changes by the Illinois legislature that would eliminate, limit, or restrict its authority to make, and so on. I think that accomplishes what the two of you are discussing.
Thank you, Mr. Spanos. That sums it up.
I definitely want your approval on this. So are you on board with that at the time?
Yes, I was following in
For
that.
the amendment? And so are we okay here as far as getting it down for the records when I'm trying to
Right.
make sure we have it at the same time? I have it all. You have it? Do we have an understanding of that? I think primary, Member Johnson, you were trying to specifically talk about one issue on it and try to avoid any partisanship later
I wanted to
on
make
in it.
sure, yes, that it was targeted at legislation.
And what we're doing now is just saying, adding the word basic, cover all of any other situation that would come up with it. Is that right?
In the chance that it does change names again,
Okay, yeah.
that it is targeted at preserving our,
Because this legislation is still in progress, I understand your intent. I hope everybody else does, because that would be the amendment at this time. If we're okay with that, are there any questions about the amendment? Need clarification? Who did?
Mr. Chairman.
Hang on just a minute, please. You say? Yes, Mr. Smith. You seconded that amendment, and if you followed all that, we need to know if you will agree.
I have no problem with it.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're back down to the amendment as proposed. I don't know if we could read it off again or not. If not, I hope everybody got that. This has been kind of discombobulated, even with the communication between people and president, people on the screen here. But I will take a roll call vote, and knowing that staff and the proponent of the amendment are on agreement on the language. Thank you. We'll take a roll call vote.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
No.
Member Thompson,
No.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
No.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
No.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
No.
Member Friedrich,
No.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger. Oh, she had.
No. No.
Thank you.
We have 12 to 8 votes. Sorry, 12 to 8. There we go. I won't throw that. The motion, the amendment has passed. Now we're back to the regular motion, resolution as was presented. Is there any other discussion on this? Well, thank you for not adding to the confusion, and we'll vote on the original resolution
This is the original resolution as amended.
as amended.
Member Schaefer,
Yes.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Soldner,
No.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Went,
No.
Member Woolrab,
Yes.
Member Barnett,
Yes.
Member Beer,
Yes.
Member Bloomfield,
No.
Member Chung,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Erickson,
No.
Member Friedrich,
No.
Member Johnston,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
No.
Chairman McIntyre.
No.
Seven, no, and then 13.
13 yes, 7 no's, and the resolution has passed. Amended. Okay, we'll move on from there.
Yeah. Land use has no other items for action, and we have a report in the minutes.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chairman.
We'll go on to the report of the Property Committee Chairman Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Property brings forward no items for action this evening. A copy of our general report may be found in the unapproved minutes packet.
Thank you. We're going to the report of Transportation Committee Chairman Zollner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Transportation has no items for action tonight. Our general report can be found in the unapproved minutes. I did want to mention that the Scott Scott Bundy Memorial Highway signs have been erected on Tawanda Barnes Road. I believe the first one towards the south is at GE Road, and then they go on up all the way up to Tawanda. So I want to thank the Highway Department for doing that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll go on the report of the county administrator, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chairman McIntyre. Just mentioning a couple of things going on in county administration that I think are noteworthy. We just submitted an environmental justice application, which will allow us to possibly apply for the Solar for All grants to then put some solar panels on a couple of the downtown buildings. Now, that would just be sprinkles on the cupcake. We're still working with straight up solar, even if we don't get the environmental justice approval. There are still some possibilities for us, but we've really been rolling up our sleeves in county admin and getting those applications done. We collaborated with the city and with the McLean County Regional Planning Commission on that, so we're very grateful for their help as well. I wanted to thank staff all over the organization, but especially facilities and maintenance and custodial, and then staff and admin who helped to deal with a major leak in the basement of the Law and Justice Center, which adversely affected the sheriff and his administrative staff. Um, and so there was a quick response. We were on the phone, and obviously maintenance was there trying to stop the leak, and got a vendor in there to dry things up. But it took all hands on deck, obviously, to address that. And so while all the other business of the county is going on, these sorts of things throw a wrench and slow things down as we're trying to have our maintenance staff, work on the regular everyday work or capital improvements. So I just wanted to mention, if we've been out of sorts in that area, it's because we had to respond to a major leak. And then lastly, I just want to thank staff from IT and county admin and beyond for all of the extra meetings to serve you, the county board, in what you've been working on lately, especially relative to the reapportionment, relative to rules. It takes all of us working together to make that happen. It takes registration of all of the public, and it takes our recording secretary to give them a call and ensure they receive the information. It takes IT at the ready to make sure that everything's working. I could go on. And then it takes all of the minutes to be typed, and then for us to read them and get them posted. So I don't have to explain that to you, but I sure do want to express my gratitude to everyone who works to make that happen. We expect that we'll have many more meetings in this regard, but we're at the ready to serve you. And I just wanted to thank staff for all they do to work late and put in the hours to make sure all of this runs as smoothly as technology can. So thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to mention those.
Thank you. We'll go on now to the report, number 8, of appearances by members of the public and county employees in reference to any item not on the agenda, and we don't have anyone who has applied to speak. So we'll go on to number 9, other business and communication. Is there other business and communication at this time? Member Solner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple brief things. The first one, in 1962, President Kennedy announced that the third week in May would be designated as National Police Week. I just wanted to mention that and thank all law enforcement, city, county, state, for their good work that they do, and just want to show our appreciation. Secondly, I believe our virtual meeting provision ends 1st of June. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman? We start meeting in person for all committees?
That's correct. Our resolution expires at the end of this month for virtual meetings.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Someone else? Member Schaefer?
I just want to make sure everyone is aware that the Pfizer vaccine is now approved for 12 years and up. So walk-ins are available at check the health department website 4 times for the Pfizer vaccine, and actually signing up ahead of time kind of speeds it up, but walk-ins are welcome. So for those of you who may have that age child or your friends that have that age child, I would like to hope that you would encourage them to get vaccinated. Thank you.
If I may just jump in, Chairman and Member Schaefer, I think that I'm so glad that you announced that because between April 30th and May 7th, um, 58 new cases of COVID-19 occurred in our community for children 17 and under. That was one of the highest groups aside from 20-year-olds. So it's just so important for children to have this opportunity. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you. That's very encouraging. We know how much everybody wants to get out, get back to school, get the activities, have family gatherings. So we've got to make sure that they get that vaccine out and get it done. Member Woolrap, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to mention that May 6th to May 12th was National Nurses Week. And I'm sure everyone in this room can't express enough gratitude to all the nurses, not only here in McLean County and our health department and our nursing home, as well as our jail staff and detention center, but everywhere in the country and probably everywhere in the world. So thank you, nurses everywhere.
Thank you for bringing that up. There is a media document out now by OSF that highlights and addresses a number of individuals who have risked their lives and worked continually since the beginning of COVID out in ICU and ER and other places. And, they are definitely, certainly heroes, and we appreciate that. Is there any other business this time? Member Erickson.
At the executive committee meeting on Monday, when we got to other business and communication, I asked to address, and the chairman asked me, now, does your communication have to do with county business or not? I'm just wanting to know if that's just something you're going to ask me in particular, or does that apply to every county board member?
Oh, no, at the time, I definitely asked you in particular, but I have actually what I was trying to do is set a pattern so that we are doing that throughout. And thank you for bringing that up. You know, all I'm trying to do as chairman is make sure we have good decorum and actually try to follow the rule. And if someone has something else that they want to make a statement or something such as that, I would hope that they would follow decorum and just stick to our agenda. When it says other business and communication, my interpretation is, and I, as chairman, is that that's going to be something that's related to what we're doing. But thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else? Well, I want to read a statement that I will be making for the press and media as well. And this has to do with our move. Excuse me, take this off. It's okay. This has to do with us moving along the process for reapportionment and redistricting. And what I'm trying to do as you read this is accomplish something that might be something that hasn't been done in the state of Illinois, and it's something after going through this first process that we have had and determining a number of districts and number of members per district for the next 10 years. And thank you all for your input on that. I would like to move forward and establish another process as well. So on May 24th, I'll be making a public announcement identifying members of a red, white, and blue ribbon committee, ad hoc advisory committee, not consisting of any board members, but representing members of the community with equal representation from each political party. This ad hoc advisory group will be selected by me with the assistance and input from two of our board representatives, Member Elizabeth Johnston and Member Jim Solner. The charge of the red, white, and blue advisory group will be to draw 3 maps by the end of June based on 10 districts and following the overriding principle of one person, one vote, and will follow the apportionment plan criteria as follows. Shall be substantially equal in population to each other district, shall be comprised of a contiguous territory as nearly compact as practicable, may divide townships or municipalities only when necessary to conform to the population requirement of a paragraph of this section, A of this section, and be created in such a manner so that no precinct shall be divided between two or more districts insofar as much as is practical, and any other criteria and guideline as state statutes require for us to follow. The Regional Planning Commission will provide data. The McLean County IT Department will provide assistance with technology and map drawing software, and Assistant County Administrator Cassie Taylor will serve as facilitator to this advisory group. 3 maps will be drawn by this group and posted publicly, and the advisory group will host a public hearing with an opportunity for public comment in July. Since there will be an opportunity for public comment in July on the proposed maps, which they will be able to view, the May 18th and May 25th meetings, as previously announced by me, will not be held as they are not necessary at this time. McLean County has always been a leader in best practices and is known throughout the state as the county who values innovation and data-driven decision-making. This will be one of the first fair maps reallocation processes conducted by a governmental body in the state of Illinois. We believe this process will build and grow a better McLean County, and it is my hope and goal to bring together this board and the community. The final versions of these 3 maps will be posted on July 8th, 2021, to allow all board members to review and prepare to vote on this item by the board on July 15th, 2021, at our regularly scheduled county board meeting. And I will spell out on that process, since there will be 3 maps chosen and the county board will vote on them. If we have the first round of voting and there's not a majority of the board that accepts one of the 3 particular proposals, we'll recess, we'll throw out the bottom, one that had the least number of votes, and recess and come back and vote as appropriate as the time comes, so we can finish up our map processing. I know there will be questions. I have really strived very hard to come up with a very good plan, and I will work with members Johnson and member Solner in helping to find good, professional, qualified representatives who have in this community, and we have so many, as we've experienced with the first 2 Blue Ribbon committees that we had, who have the best interests of this county in their hearts and will be willing to donate their time. If there are other questions, I will be happy to entertain those, or I'll be happy to give you this if you didn't get the dates down that I had read right now. Is there any questions at this time before we adjourn? And by the way, the county administration will have the information available too. Member Erickson.
I just want to thank Member Barnett. That's your plan. Could have done this in March. Thank you.
Well, I disagree with you. I don't think it was Mr. Barnett's plan, but I'm happy that Mr. Barnett did come with a plan, which was presented to me and Member I'm sorry, Ms. Rodriguez. I did it again. That was similar in that it had a representation from the public and from the board, so it was similar in nature from that standpoint. But thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Erickson, because it shows that we do have people on this board who are willing to come up with some compromise proposals. I really like this plan. I think it
We've
will
all been willing to compromise. Mr.
Excuse me, Member Erickson.
No, you're not gonna sit there and suggest that I've not been willing to compromise, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Member Erickson, I didn't even mention you. Thank you. Yeah, Member Klein.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank you for putting this together and for the goodwill, and simply ask that as you go forward with the selection of the members, that that you honor the 2 sides and their
Yes,
choices.
absolutely.
And I appreciate that. And a little off topic, I want to say a belated happy birthday to Logan Smith, because it'll embarrass him.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say a belated happy birthday to Logan Smith.
Oh,
because
happy birthday,
it will
Logan
embarrass
Smith.
him. Yeah.
Thank you. Member Johnson and Member Solner will act as liaisons for the particular political parties as we go through this process, and you can talk with them as we continue through this process. The map drawing process committee, ad hoc committee, will be working exclusively on their own. There won't be anybody, including me, involved in this or participating or even observing that. They will come out though and have a public hearing and present their presentations. The only part is that the county would be providing what they need. I want to also I want to thank County Administrator, Assistant Administrator Cassie Taylor for volunteering to help carry out this procedure. Somebody had their hand up. Member Smith.
Will this committee be subject to OMA?
No. It won't. Thank you. I think that's correct, isn't there? It's not a public meeting, no.
We'll have to look at that and I'll get back to you on an opinion. Thank you. I'll get back with the chairman.
All I can do is go from what we have done here in the precedent in the past with the Blue Ribbon Committees. And so I should clarify one thing. When we do have public hearings, the public hearings will be presented and presided over by the map drawing ad hoc committee, not the county board or the executive committee. The process is going to be straight to our county board. Obviously, any county board members willing to participate or be involved with the public hearing process in July. And we'll have that date out for you in plenty of time. Member Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, a couple questions, if I may. I guess first a statement. Thank you, Member Erickson, for saying that, so I didn't have to. Will there be minutes taken of the meeting of this body?
And I don't know why there would be. Thank you. I don't know. They're going to be working and collaborating to use the data provided for maps.
And the reason I'm asking is we heard from Assistant State's Attorney Spanos at one of our recent meetings that all of the records from when our current maps were drawn 10 years ago and the process that we went through seemed to have disappeared from county records or were never submitted, which certainly feels like a violation of the Illinois Local Records Act, but that's another story. I guess I just want to make sure we're not going to be in the same position 10 years from now, that the work that these community servants are going to be doing is going to be honored, is going to be cared for, and is going to be kept within the county's records for potential public viewing at some point 5-10 years from now.
And you're talking about just a verbal interaction as far as the minutes go. It's like it would be kept in any meeting. Right?
Well, yeah, if there's meeting minutes, if there are files shared, if there are the data that's being shared, all the pieces of information and documents that go into this committee will review that help them make their decision. All of that information should be retained within the county's records, and at some point in the future, certainly made available to the public if that is deemed appropriate.
Okay, thank you. I will refer that to the state's attorney's office, and we will see that they absolutely will have that taken care of and kept in our files and placed on file and kept in records for perpetuity. How's that sound? Okay. And so anyone the public can access it like anything else. Okay. Member Johnston.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a quick point of clarification. You keep talking, you were referring to it as a public hearing, and my understanding with public hearing is that there's certain.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify,
Yeah.
Is this a public hearing or public comment session like we did before?
I believe that it was determined that it'd be a public input session.
Okay.
Which is the one thing that does is it will still be posted and following OMA and posting things in the proper amount of time so that the public is notified. Not exactly the cost of putting on a public hearing, and there won't be anybody at this public hearing except the facilitator and the red, white, and blue people who will be sitting up and listening to any type of presentations. Now, during that time, of course, if someone comes from the public and has a rendition to a map or comments on the proposed map, uh, the idea is that there will be 3 maps almost finished or finished for the public to see, and that they will have an opportunity to also make comments on that. Then the red, white, and blue committee will go back to the final session and finish it up, and then present it for all of our board members to see. I hope that clarifies that. Yeah, Member Woolrab.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank you for this idea and taking input from a number of sources, probably to get to this point. It's really an important step for our county, as you mentioned. I have one, I'm glad that you just clarified that final process, because that was one of my questions, so that anybody bringing a map, it would be taken back, my understanding is it would be taken back by the committee or commission or red, white, and blue folks and
Yeah,
reworked or looked
yes,
at. Okay.
absolutely.
So no, there won't be any map just taken off the floor and without their consideration. Okay,
No.
my other,
And when they bring it back, and we'll place that on file too. Anything comes from the public, we'll place that on file for them too. So that's part of our records, yeah. And that will just give this red, white, and blue ribbon committee an opportunity to get some input from the public and see if there are other suggestions that was pointed out to them that they might need to adjust before they come up with a final project for us to vote on. So basically, other than county board members sitting in on the public input stations to get up to speed on see the maps, and then viewing them for the week prior to our session where we will be voting on them, we are hands off at that point, including myself. The commission will work on, I keep calling it the commission, please excuse me, because this isn't the commission. We know the statute says the commission would be later on if we couldn't come to a resolution. And so it is the committee.
I have one more question for you. So that Ms. Johnston and Mr. Soldner have a list, who is the final arbiter of the picks in this?
They're going to compose a list along with me. My only role in this is giving them some suggestions and names, and then each one will agree upon that list or add to the list from other ones that they want to bring from from the particular
So it is
political party.
solely the decision of the, with their input, whatever input they want to get in the background, but either Mr. Soldner or Ms. Johnston will have the final decision to who sits on this, whatever it is.
Yes, well, yeah, basically, yeah, that's correct. I know what you're going toward. You know, I don't want to control this in any way, except for the fact I do want to coordinate the fact that I would like to appoint, I'm going to appoint the commission with their approval, so they can be liaison back to you. Operationally, sometimes that's good from this standpoint. There may be people in this community that I know that I will go out and offer and reach out with them, and either Mr. Soldner or Member Johnston or both may accompany me if they need someone to accompany them as well. I hope that's, let me say this, because I don't want any infighting, contentions, or anything on this. As I did with the Blue Ribbon Committees, I will present to them a number of people that I think are good, and then they can add to that list, and we can talk and decide about who we want, okay? Basically, though, I will come out and make it a statement that I am appointing these people, period. But I'm not going to do it without any disapproval of either faction, either political party here at all. I will not do that. But there is something to be said for before you go out, and we've discussed this, before you go out and ask a person who may have been a retired CEO, a retired director of a social service agency, or a judge, and ask them to do it and then go back and tell them no. Do you understand? So we will be sure that we're on the same page before anyone is really approached. Hopefully, we'll have some people. Yes, Mr. Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to publicly encourage, I guess, the 3 of you, since you're going to be going out and soliciting members for you to bring a final list together from, to try to balance out as much as possible the diversity of this community and this county. It's important to have representatives from the city of Bloomington, people who live in the town of Normal, people who live in the outlying rural areas, to have people who may have positions who have been a CEO of a corporation who's retired now, or a judge, but it also could bring a lot of wealth to this body if there was someone who was perhaps younger in their 20s and their voice was heard as well. If there was somebody on the commission who had a background in data analytics or understood change management or something like that. We have a lot of
Yeah, you know what,
opportunities
Mr. Byrne, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Member Soldner and Member Johnson and I have discussed this, and we had also, we will do that. And I say we, they will, and I will. We also have to keep in mind that the number of people in this committee, we could actually, in trying to touch base with all aspects of this county, come up with 20 members. But we also understand this has to be a work committee. And we want to be sure that it is bipartisan as well. But we have discussed that. Diversity is one thing we have on our list that we will talk about. Also geographic and demographics. Also such things as economics and, agencies that deal directly with people. And so we'll haul that down and try to get someone from each of these as best that we possibly can.
Okay, we'll be watching.
Well, good. We'll want you to do that, and you are welcome to speak with whoever your representative is from whoever party you belong to. And they will pass that on to me. Okay, any questions? Yeah, Member Smith.
I hate to bring this up so late in the game. I keep hearing the words either and both political parties, but there's actually three political parties in McLean County. And I might catch some flack for saying this, but I do believe the third political party also should have some skin in the game. So I think that's something for us to consider as well.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Well, anyway, thank you very much for this, and I hope and I encourage you all to realize that this is a project that has fair maps is just something that hasn't gotten off the ground anywhere, and our county, if we can step forward and do this, I think we can all be proud that we've come up with a resolution, and hopefully it will also promote some kind of unity within this board. And I think it is about as fair, and we will be as fair as absolutely possible. Thank you very much, and this meeting's adjourned.